ambassador to Zimbabwe has actually responded to propaganda that was written by the whole state media. We've always said Herald is a propaganda institution. They ran a story today which said EU envoy backs constitutional bills, to suggest that the EU ambassador begged amendment number 3 of 2026, that is to see Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa mutilating the constitution. The EU has actually responded through its Twitter handle, humbling the propaganda mouthpiece of Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa that they lied, they misled the nation. In fact, let me read a part of the story, just few sentences of what the Herald story said, and then I will actually read the response that was so decisive from the EU ambassador in Zimbabwe. The story that was run by Chronically, as I have indicated already, the heading, it says EU envoy backs constitutional bill, and it went on to say Zimbabwe's constitutional amendment number 3 bill of 2026 is valid, as nations must reflect on their governance practices to ensure they align with the best interest of their citizens. The European Union has said newly accredited EU ambassador to Zimbabwe, Ms. Catherine Hedgeman, told the Herald at her first Meet the Media engagement recently that there was no one-size-fits-all approach to governance, making it legitimate for Zimbabwe to reassess its structures. There are presidential systems, there are parliamentary systems. Countries have different ways to govern themselves, and it's valid for a country to think about how one should be governed, whether 5 years is enough for a president or it should be 7, whether they should be term limit or not, she said. The proposed amendments, so the Chronicle continued with the story, giving an impression that EU ambassadors supported their mutilation of the constitution. Well, about 27 minutes ago, to be precisely, as we were doing this live broadcast, as we are doing this live broadcast, EU delegation to Zimbabwe, Hangley, has actually responded. It says, we thank Herald Zimbabwe for their report. That was humble from EU. And then they go on to say, however, the article conveys a misleading interpretation of the EU ambassador's remarks. This is very embarrassing. I'll repeat. They say, however, the article conveys a misleading interpretation of the EU's ambassador remarks. The EU ambassador had underscored that constitutional amendments are a sovereign prerogative and raise no concerns when undertaken in full accordance with both the letter and the spirit of the Constitution, reflecting the will of the people. The remarks were intended to reaffirm principles of constitutional fidelity and democratic legitimacy. What a humbling statement to the Herald. So the EU correcting the statements, mischievous actually article written by Herald Zimbabwe, suggesting that EU support and has endorsed a constitutional amendment bill number 3 of 2026. In fact, what EU told Mnangagwa is that you should actually make constitutional changes. Constitutional, and also you should make sure that the people of Zimbabwe work with you as you make a constitutional amendment. It shouldn't be a Mnangagwa's bedroom affair as it is the case at the moment. So EU making Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa's Herald to eat a humble pie, the whole state media misleading the nation. It made it clear the article conveys a misleading interpretation of the EU ambassador's remarks. He never endorsed the constitutional amendment number 3 of 2026. There is seemingly desperation from, the ZANU-PF of Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa. It shows that they don't trust themselves in terms of the process they are actually engaging in. And also, I saw something they did with Fatsai Mahere. Fatsai, let me just go to her account. She was at some point threatening legal action against ZANU-PF. Against this propaganda machinery. I think there was a lot of excitement from the Herald today. They actually covered a story which says constitutional amendment bill a democratic upgrade for Zimbabwe, and they put the face of Fatsai Mahere, and Fatsai quickly actually addressed them, saying, "Good morning, Herald Zimbabwe. What has my image got to do with your dodgy plan to destroy the constitution? Kasikai kuvisa pik iyoyo tisati tataurirana chirungu. We need new leaders." Actually, that statement on its own. And after hours, to be precisely about 14 hours later, she wrote, "The Herald Zimbabwe has removed the image. We need new leaders." There is desperation from the Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa shame to get an endorsement across Zimbabwe regarding their, dodgy and also anti-people, constitutional amendment, bill number 3 of 2026. I wonder, the levels of desperation stretching them so far of actually creating false stories targeting EU and targeting Fatsai Mahere, people who are totally opposed to this nonsense that Mnangagwa is about to do. What a level of desperation. Thank you very much for watching us. If you are watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button, so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members, or the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars. I promised last time that I will come in the morning. Let me sign off. We will never know. There is a lot that is happening. I may say, okay, I come in the